everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be seeing how many Mario Kart 8 tracks can be beaten by going backwards. The goal for each track is to see if we can complete a lap without going in the intended direction. So without further ado, let's get right into the Mushroom Cup. Starting off with Mario Kart Stadium, we run into our first problem. Lakitu drags you forwards if you're going backwards. Now there is a simple workaround for this. All we have to do is play in time trial mode. But then we run into another problem. The glider ramp is high in the air, leaving a large gap that we cannot cross. So Mario Kart Stadium is not beatable. Next up in the Mushroom Cup is Water Park. It starts off okay, but then we get to a small ramp that just barely blocks our path, making the track unbeatable. Sweet Sweet Canyon has a wall just behind the starting line, also making it unbeatable. And finally, Thwomp Ruins, like Mario Kart Stadium, has a giant gap that cannot be crossed. So, none of the tracks in the Mushroom Cup can be beaten by going backwards. The Shell Cup begins with Moo Moo Meadows, and since it's a battle track in Mario Kart 8, you can easily beat this track by going backwards. GPA Mario Circuit started off okay, but then we got to the part where the platform is elevated in the air. There's just no way you could get up there, and the wall is also blocking your path. DS Cheap Cheap Beach is pretty straightforward for the most part. In fact, the entire course would have been beatable had it not been for the final part with the gliding section. So, you cannot beat Cheap Cheap Beach going backwards. Toad's Turnpike is a battle track, so that means yes, you can beat it going backwards. The Flower Cup kicks things off with two very easy to clear battle tracks, Mario Circuit and Toad Harbor. Twisted Mansion starts off simple, but then we get to the gliding section. It seems like it'd be easy to get into the bottom portion, but for some reason, Lakitu drags you back onto the track. I find it weird that they put a death zone here, but unfortunately, this track is not beatable backwards. Shy Guy Falls has a wall immediately behind the starting point, so it's a no. In the Banana Cup, once again, both Dry Dry Desert and Donut Plains 3 are battle tracks, so they're very simple to clear. N64 Royal Raceways seemed to be going well until about halfway through the track where there was a sizable gap preventing me from crossing, making this track unclearable. Right behind the starting line in DK Jungle, there's a ramp that prevented me from progressing. I did try to use a mushroom to make it around the ramp and onto the road, but to no avail. DK Jungle can't be beaten by going backwards. The Star Cup's Sunshine Airport has an unpassable point just behind the starting section, so beating this course is not possible. Dolphin Shoals also has a section just like it. You know, it seems like every track that has a glider section in it cannot be beaten. Similarly, Electrodrome also has a gliding section, but there's a ramp blocking the path just before it, so you can't even get to the uncrossable gap. Now Mount Wario is an interesting case, as the entire course is a single track. So I decided to go the length of the course and start from the finish line. After going up the steep hill, I was blocked by a wall. Not a single track in the Star Cup is clearable without going backwards. The Leaf Cup begins with Wario Stadium, which, like usual, has a wall behind the starting line. Turbot Land is a battle track, so it is really easy to clear. However, Music Park, or Melody Motorway if you're from the EU, has a small wall that blocks us from progressing. Yoshi's Valley is a battle track, so this will be a piece of cake to clear. Yeah, so for whatever reason, the battle mode version of this track has little ramps that let you go up the wall, but here, they're just walls. I then noticed that there was a path that I could jump onto. I missed a few times before I retried with mushrooms, and unfortunately, Lakitu stops me from clearing the jump. What's frustrating is that if Lakitu didn't try to save me, I could have easily made it to the other side. But you cannot clear any courses in the Leaf Cup by going backwards. Cloud Top Cruise in the Special Cup has a large question block behind the starting line, which cannot be driven onto. Behind that there's a gliding section, so there was no way of clearing this one. Bone Dry Dunes has a glider segment a little ways behind the start. I tried jumping off the sand spout, but to no avail, meaning that this course isn't beatable. Bowser's Castle has a giant valley filled with lava that cannot be crossed. And finally, Rainbow Road seems to start out okay, but then we make it to the large void of space, which you can normally cross with the glider. However, since we're going backwards, we can't do that. Starting the Lightning Cup, Tick-Tock Clock is fine until we reach a section with the gears. These mechanisms are too high to get onto, rendering this course unbeatable by going backwards. Piranha Plant Slide starts off normally until we reach a jump that seemed impossible to make. However, I psyched myself up and mushroomed into the small opening, and to my surprise, I actually made it in. This really shocked me. However, the fun was ruined a little later as I came upon an unpassable wall. Finishing off the Lightning Cup, both Grumble Volcano and N64 Rainbow Road both have walls just behind the finish line. The first original DLC Cup, being the Egg Cup, appropriately starts off with Yoshi Circuit, and shockingly, this track was actually beatable by going backwards. I even tried the waterfall shortcut just to show off my insane gamer skills, and it works backwards. So yeah, Yoshi's Circuit is clearable. Excite Bike Arena is also pretty easy. If there's a ramp blocking your path, you can just drive around it by going on the grass. Then, just like last time, we arrive at Dragon Driftway and Mute City, both of which have walls behind the start. You know, I'm beginning to notice a pattern here. The Triforce Cup begins with Wario's Gold Mine. After driving backwards for a bit, I came to a spot where I couldn't cross. I did try to mushroom boost across a few times, but Lakitu wouldn't allow me to do so. SNES Rainbow Road is all flat and subsequently very easy to clear. Repeating the last two cups, Ice Outpost and Hyrule Circuit have walls or gaps blocking your path. Crossing over to the Crossing Cup, see what I did there? Anyways, Baby Park is literally an oval, need I say more? And Cheeseland seemed to be going well until I arrived at a gliding gap. If only Lakitu wasn't trying to save me, then I would have actually been able to beat this track, but sadly, I can't. Wild Woods has an uncrossable gap just behind the finish line, as does the Animal Crossing stage. And now for the final cup of the video, the Bell Cup. Neo Bowser City has a wall at the start, and just a little ways past the beginning in Ribbon Road, we encounter a glider gap. In Super Bell Subway, everything was looking like it was going to work out. I had to avoid trains, but all was good until we made it to the entrance ramp for the subway. Unfortunately, there's just no way to pass this, causing this course to be unbeatable. And now onto our final track, Big Blue. Like with Mount Wario, this is just one big track, so I drove down the entire thing and started from the finish line. You could get through the entire first section until we reach a wall, blocking our path. But anyways, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and maybe subscribe. I had a lot of fun making this one, and here's a chart of all the beatable and unbeatable tracks. Thanks for watching, goodbye.